I've brought together a collection of some of the worksheets I have produced in a better way to show what exactly it is I can do with Excel. It's only a small selection, but I hope it gives you a better idea. Oh, and the bit before? Just a bit of fun. But ask yourself this, how many times have you sat looking at a spreadsheet? And the numbers really are moving. Some of the most effective workbooks are those that on the surface seem the simplest. Take a look at this sheet. It does look at first glance to simply be the results of one sales operative over a 12-month period so that you can view their performance on every level for the whole year. But what in reality you have here from the drop down is your entire sales force. So you can go from one to the other to be able to see that all of them are reaching their potential. And this is useful for when it comes to doing their annual reviews as well. Not only do you get the standard things that you would expect here, total sales, revenue and so on, but the workbook also contains things like their errors and their attendance records. So again, can be useful at review times. We also look at it by source, their percentages, their enrolls, their leads. As you will have spotted from the date tabs, there is also a section in this workbook on data capture, an important area for a lot of companies these days. Having been able to look at the work of one individual, it is frequently useful to be able to compare them against their peers. So I have added a section here so where from a drop down you can select 1, 2, 3, oh, me being clumsy, and 4. A maximum of 4 only on these sheets, but of course they could be built to actually deal with everybody on one sheet if wanted. This then gives you a clear picture because you have the average of the 4 people that you have selected to look at and the total averages for across the entire sales floor. Helps you to see whether or not they are keeping up with everybody else or in which areas they are excelling against other people. And on that basis, I felt it would be helpful to have a sheet that actually ranked them all. So again, you can select from the top. I'll only actually pick up 2 this time. Now here you can see that these individuals are not only being ranked, they are being ranked against those in the sales team. So at this particular month of November 2009, this workbook had 19 people working throughout November. Grant was placed 16th out of the 19 and Mark was 4th out of the 19. Just like to point out here that these people don't exist. These workbooks are an example only, nothing to do with the correct data. This workbook, as you've seen, works from drop-down menus, and not only can you select the people you want to look at, you can of course select the year or month in this case, in fact both year and month. Let's have a look at February 2010. This is a type of workbook that can be produced daily, and on your average to good PC, should run in about 10 minutes off the programming set up for it. I like to include in a workbook of this style the actual solid data that has been worked from so that anybody who disagrees with figures can always check them themselves. I also, unlike the traditional type of report, put all my subtotals and totals clearly at the top of the page where they can be seen. This saves a lot of scrolling up and down and means you only need to actually go to the ones that are of interest to you if you want to look at the finer detail. Of course, this is all below. The workbook also includes daily summaries, so you can see where the breakdown is for each individual day. It groups everything into its top 20s, so you have your top 20 of leads, enrolls, conversion rates, GV, etc. It looks at products by their product group, They look at the sales done by the media in those product groups, or ad keys in the groups as well, and finally your ad key and source results. Right, there is a sister book to this one, which is for the people who like maybe their data in a slightly more graphic form. Within these, you will find that pie charts have been slightly transformed over time. One of the things I like to do is to give as much information as I can for each section. Therefore, you will see that in your table, it doesn't just give you the index, it will actually give you the figures to go with the percentages on the charts. And of course, I have done the same kind of thing when it comes to normal bar charts. Again, as much information as possible on a chart. These just match up with the data from the other book I showed you. And as I said, probably 10 minutes max to run both in the morning. I thought I'd take a look at this book simply because it's probably one of the ones that is best for showing how colour can turn lists of numbers that swirl in front of your face into something that you can actually look at and follow. How many times have you opened a spreadsheet and not been sure straight away where you're at one end, the middle, the right bit, where you thought it should be, or anything else? By using colour and using it effectively in gradients as well as in changes of actual shade, you know where you are. Notice how the colour changes all the time, from top through to bottom, from side to side. But all the time, you can see the figures and you can follow their progress. This sheet, I think, is probably the one that does it the best for me. It has screens of information that go on. But with all the different colours, you know where you're going. You can see each figure. You can see the definitions. You don't have to be a genius to see whether you're at the bottom of the sheet or at the top of the sheet. And it engages you. You want to see more. The last book I've selected as an example of my work was one I put together for a friend who needed to cover some of the things that I've done in my job, such as how to allocate holidays, targets, shifts, etc. This workbook is very flexible and will actually assist over as long a period as you would choose to put it over. To start with, you'd actually put in your number of hours that your standard full-time person would be working, what the normal holiday allocations are. Oh yes, and as I said, flexible, the year. To add a new person to this, we would put in simply their first name. What shall we say, Guy Fisher? Right, and you would fill in the details where the red bits come up, and that would actually then populate the rest of the book for you. We'll leave Guy just partly in at the moment though. This, of course, by having all your start dates and everything, will tell you exactly how long that person has worked for you. Whenever you open the book, it updates automatically. Just to give you a wee bit of proof on that, keep an eye on Vicky, and we'll change her start date, and oh yeah, it's changed the number of years that she's worked. I've utilised drop-downs in the holiday sheet as well. Let's just have a quick select someone. Let's see, where's Vicky? Oh, there she is at the bottom. Oh, you just noticed her column has come up here in a shade of purple to help you make sure you got the right salesperson. And at the top, let's bring her in, let's say we'll look for August. Nice and simple there. Once again, you have the darker shade showing the month. So instead of having to scroll all the way up and down and back and forwards to try and find somebody, it actually takes you neatly to the correct person. I don't know if you spotted there, but Guy, who until a second or two ago didn't exist, has actually turned up in not just the drop-down, but also, of course, the holiday sheet and everything else going forward. The holiday statement is their record. Basically, this shows exactly how many days they got booked, when they've got them booked, over the whole year, of course, and how many they still actually have to take. So in Vicky's case, she's got 4 more to book for the rest of this year. So that we can actually give her a copy of this, all you do is go simply create a copy of the holiday sheet, and you want to create it in a new book. Okay. You can then copy, paste special, paste values, and that's it ready to be emailed off to Vicky. The next sheet I have here, it gives you holidays off by name, which can be very, very useful to know exactly what your staffing levels are. So if we look again back at August, we can see who's booked off where and exactly. In fact, I should have showed you that in the holiday sheet, I forgot. This gives you a tally, so you know as soon as you're booking a holiday whether you're going over your maximum at any time. Sheets are then also set up from here. You saw on the first sheet that we had the shift. This is James, this has come up here, so let's change it to Madeline, and you've seen that things have changed. We can see again, let's try, I'm not sure what we've got. Let's try August. Madeline had a couple of days holiday and it's marked as off. These figures, their paid hours, their target hours, the work hours, goes forward to sorting out things like their targets. The shift manual prints off into one sheet per week, so it can be kept as a paper copy on the desk for quick reference as to who's where and what they're doing. The targets is very, very simple to run. You put in what your targets are, and of course those can be changed to fit with any company's requirements. And here, for example, say we're going to make a change to Mel. She hasn't got an official holiday, but she's done something where we want to give her a reward of 1 day's target. Takes her target, the target off her, but puts it on to everybody else. So it is fairly distributed across the team. And we've got, let me see, we'll have Sharon needs a target reduction because she's going to be working with another department for most of this month. So she's only needs to be, we're going to give her a reduction, so she's only actually going to have 80% of the full target. And that again then reallocates it so that across the board the company hits target. Final part to this is in the name, the diary. The diary is a very quick way of keeping up to track with what's happening with all your staff. For example, we'll pretend it's the 1st of August and we've got Carol's just come into work, so we mark her as in. Your tally goes straight in there. Her timekeeping, she did come into work, but oh dear, she was late. And Grant, well, he's been missing all day. What this does, of course, is give you a status count, which is easy to see for each month, but I have, again, translated all of this straight into the other sheets here. Oh, and Guy, as I said, he's put himself in. Nothing more to do but do it from the front sheet. What I've shown you here is nothing more than a snapshot. It is also a new skill to add to my CV, because until now, believe me, I've never done this.